Hi, everyone. It's Bev DeBono, and welcome to my technique. And today's technique is all about using a um, chain style, either chain style border punch or a chain style border maker cartridge. A chain style is one that when you punch it, we're either going to use punches or you could use border maker cartridges, but it's one that when you punch it, the design falls off completely from the paper and makes a complete chain. So this is considered a chain style. Other ones that would be a chain style would be party hat border maker cartridge, ornaments border maker cartridge. There's a couple here, double fan, circle chain, wispy chain. They even have the word chain on them, brocade chain, ornaments and party hats, as I said. And a fairly new one that's a chain one is thirst quencher. And that would be a fun one to do for a party or some kind of a summer backyard thing. Okay, so this looks more complicated than it really is. What we're going to do is select a base paper and then a paper that we're going to cut these triangles out of. But we're really not cutting triangles, we're cutting squares. So I've selected for tonight, and then you also need a paper that you're going to use for the background, for the base of it, so that we can then put that onto a page. So what I'm going to do is I'm selecting this for my base of my border. And you could use either a small tonal or I wouldn't use anything too bold, only because you're going to then compete with your border cartridge or your punch. Okay, so I'm going to use this as my base, and then these are going to be my triangles. And then I think I'm going to punch my leaves out of brown this time. It's going to come out a little tonal. So, okay, so let's get started. You need three colors, your base, what you're going to use for your triangles, and then the color that you're going to use for your punch or border maker cartridge. And you can use the same one to do then your outer base once you have everything punched. Okay, so let's get started, and here are our measurements. Now we're making borders, and these borders are really not meant to be put on one page together. So one would go on one page and another would go on the other side of another page. So it's really for a double page spread. They're not really made to go across from each other. Although if you want to do that, you could, and then have your pictures come down the middle. And depending on the cartridge that you use, you could also have it go top and bottom and put your pictures across the middle that way as well. So it's kind of a flexible border, depending on what you use. And on this one, what I did was I then added, this happens to be a Christmas one, and I added some of the little words. A lot of times we have stickers that have little words and we're not sure what to do with all the words. So I then put them on the sides and they will become borders, on each side. And I think that will sum up the season. Okay, so to get started, we need a base paper. And if you're going to make two borders, we're going to need two of each of these, okay? So we're going to need a 2¼ by 12" is going to start our base. So I think it's easier to start with more of a tonal or a solid on this particular one. And you want a straight edge. Okay, so 2¼ 2¼ by 12 is going to be your base, and we're going to cut 2 of those so that we have two sets. Okay, so I'm just putting this at the 2¼ and then another one at 2¼ Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to make our triangles. But before we do our triangles, we're going to cut some squares. Okay, so our squares are going to be cut out of 3" by 3" squares. 3" by 3" squares. And we're going to need 3 of these. And we're going to cut them on the diagonal and they will become our triangles. Okay, so 3" by 3", and we need 3 of those. Okay, I'm using scraps from several different autumn collections because all of our papers blend so well over the years. And it's fun to just put them all together. 3 by 3, you need 3 of these. 3 by 3 on the diagonal cut. I mean, on 3 by 3, and then we're going to cut them on the diagonal. Okay, once you have all 3, then we're going to take our square. Okay, so this is my square. And I'm going to turn it so that the points form a diamond. And I'm going to have the top point and the bottom point right on my cut line. The top point and the bottom point on my cut line. And I'm going to cut right through that. Do it to all 3. Top and bottom point on your cut line. Okay, and now the last part of this is we're going to select whether you are using a Border Maker cartridge or a punch. You're going to need 3 rows of borders. 3 rows of borders. So go ahead and punch out 3 rows of borders, either with your punch or your Border Maker cartridge. Now I'm using the Autumn Leaves punch, which is still available. And these punches are really great because you then just line up the picture of what you punch right on the shelf. And I'm just clipping off every once in a while. I get these little whiskers and I'm just going to clip them off. Okay, so don't forget, we're using a chain style punch or Border Maker cartridge, one that completely comes off and forms a chain. And you need 3 complete sets of these. Okay, that's my second. And again, I'm going to cut off any whiskers that are hanging around. And these are fun because Like I said, these particular borders are very, very flexible. Okay, so now I have 3 complete sets. Again, I'm going to cut off any of the whiskers that I might have. That one looked pretty good. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to form our border. Okay, so I'm just going to move those over to the side. I'm going to just put my silicone mat under here so I can use my repositionable tape. And the repositionable tape is perfect for any chain style, border maker cartridge, or punch. Any chain style. All right, I'm going to move those off to the side. And now set up your bases side by side. So I have them side by side. Okay, and I'm going to start. I'm just going to take my triangles now, because now they're triangles, and I'm going to just, on the left one, I'm just going to put them on the left side. And on the right side, I'm going to put them on the right side. Now I used pumpkins, and I have to make sure the pumpkins are going in the right direction. So I'm going to make sure I don't have upside down pumpkins. Oh, there's one. I got to switch those 2 guys. Okay, so we have lined up our triangles now, and we have the base on your flat base against the straight edge of both of the outer edges. And now you're ready to just tape these down. Now the trick with taping these down is you're going to do the top one first, the bottom one second, then you do your middle one. And that way you can get the middle one right in the middle there with the point at the 6-inch mark is really what you need to be looking at. So you want the point of the triangle, the point of your triangle here at the 6-inch mark. So let's do our top one first, and use your repositionable tape, and either on your silicone mat or on a piece of wax paper. And the reason for this is the repositionable tape comes out in little micro dots. I don't know if you could see it on here, but when you use it on a silicone mat or wax paper, nothing adheres to anything else. You won't get it all over your table. Okay, and we're going to line that up. The points are going right to the very top. So we do the top one first. And I like the repositionable tape because I can get those dots all the way to the tips. And then that way it's not going to belly up when I put them in my scrapbook. Okay, now I'm ready for my middle piece. And the middle piece, like I said, you want the point of the triangle to be at the 6-inch mark. Okay, to be at the 6-inch mark. So I'm just going to, it's going to overlap a little bit on the top and the bottom one. And then your point is going to be right at that 6-inch mark, which is on your cutting mat. Okay, and now we're ready to tape down the other side. You know, and with the repo tape, like I said, you get all the way to the tips, the top and the bottom corners, your tip in the middle. So this is kind of an illusion. It looks like we put together a lot of pieces, but in fact, it's not really. Okay, and your tip in the middle one goes to the 6-inch mark right in the middle on your cutting mat. Okay, now you are ready to place your chain style punch or border maker cartridge, and you can layer it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put tape, or you can cut these like every 3 inches or so. But I'm going to just go ahead and put tape, and then that way I'm going to, no, I just lost my little micro tip scissor that I was cutting my whiskers with. What I'm going to do is I need to cut this off a little bit so that I know exactly where that leaf is going to end up. Okay, so I'm going to cut it off about every, maybe 3 or 4 inches. That's why you needed 3 of them. I'm just going to cut those off so that I know about approximately what I'm working with. In case you shouldn't need to punch another one. Okay, so depending on what you chose and the repeat of the pattern, I just want to set it up first. Okay, and then once you have it set up, then you can go ahead and tape it down, again, using your repositionable tape. And I think you can see the micro dots a little bit better on the solid cardstock. If I move it to the side, you see the little bit of the micro dots. And I'm putting it on the angle here of my triangle. And then whatever is over the side, I'm going to cut off with my scissor. But I'm trying to not cut off as much as I can. So that's why I wanted to space it a little bit. Now the repositionable tape certainly is much faster than using a glue pen for these style of punches. Okay, and now I'm ready to do my other side. And I'm going to, again, do the same thing. I'm just going to map out what ones I need. And if you want to do it going this way, you can. And this way you've got it all going down in one direction. So I've done them a couple different ways. I have both going up as a point on the triangle. I made these going up and down on the triangles. So it's whatever you want to do. There's no right or wrong way that these border punches will go. Okay, I just like to set it up first a little bit, so I know if I need to punch another one out, or, oh, it looks like I'm going to get by with just 2 borders. Okay. So now I'm ready to tape these down as well. So this is just a fun technique, really fast. And there you go. Okay, and now all you have to do is, so you see that that's how it looks when it's laid out. And what I'm going to do now is flip it over, and with my scissor, I'm just going to cut anything that's overlapping on the edge, cleaning it up a little bit before I then place it on the backing. And it's easier to cut it from the back because then I have the straight line of the base to follow right along. Now I see here using my leaves that I might want to then just cut into a couple of them just a little bit. Just want to clean up the leaf a little bit. Okay, and then you're ready for ready to do the next side. And then when we're done, we're going to place this on top of a backing. There we go. Now this in itself is a perfectly fine border, and if you wanted to use it as is, you can. I do find that it just pops it a little bit more if I can add just another level or another layer here of a strip behind it. And my base is 2¼ So I want a very thin strip because I don't want to take away from the border itself. So I'm going to cut my base at 2½ by 12. The outer base is going to be 2½ by 12. And you can make it a straight base, or you can give it a little bit of an edge, an edging. I'm going to use the pinking blade, the new pinking blade here. And I'm going to put that into my trimmer. There we go. And I'm going to just cut 1/4 inch off just to start the blade itself. That's a nice edge. That's the pinking blade. It's a nice edge. And that's going to be a 2½ inch, 2½ inch piece. Okay, it's a very thin piece, but it just pops it just a little bit and doesn't take away from your border. Okay, so 2½ because your border was 2¼ All right, and you can go ahead and tape those down. I'm just going to do it facing me only because it's easier for me to get the dimensions even. Okay, so I'm just going to center the design on right in the middle of the 2½ inch, very thin border, very thin border, but it just gives it enough of a separation when you go ahead and put it onto your page. Okay, and there you go. You're ready now to put these onto your page. Oops, this goes this way. You're ready to put these onto your pages. So tell me which ones you liked better or which ones you like the most. I have a couple of them here. I have party hats. I have, this is the one I just completed, the autumn leaves. Or did you like Christmas with the ornaments? Or I actually did one with a not a chain style border maker cartridge. And that one was a little bit more difficult to work with because of the repeat on the pattern. But anyway, tell me which one you liked the most. And I hope you liked my technique for tonight. I have a lot of other videos on my YouTube channel. It's Bev DeBono Designs. If you're not currently working with a Creative Memories advisor, I would appreciate it if you could order from my website. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.